All right, just getting around. Thank you, thank you.
Want to lose supporters?
If you want me to stop, all you have to do is caucus for Andrew Yang, and you'll never hear me sing again. So that's
Already there.
so that is kind of weird to me. You have to put up with me all the time. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for the second round of the Democratic debates tonight. And I know some of you are here to support a very special guy, Mr. Andrew Yang. So we appreciate you being here this evening, whether you support our gentleman or not, because it's very important that we as Iowans get involved in this process, especially being first in the nation. My name is Al Wample, and I am the Iowa chairman of the campaign. I am the Iowa chairman of the campaign. But right now, I would like to introduce a gentleman who has been absolutely outstanding when it comes to making sure that most of you are here, and that Andrew's name has been spread throughout the state of Iowa. So I would like to introduce not only my right-hand man, one of my best friends, and a great humanitarian, my friend, Pang Yang.
Hi, everyone. Okay.
It's a robot. Local chairperson of Democrats.
Maybe?
What?
Oh! Okay.
Is that better? This is Andrew Yang.
Buy one, give one free.
So let's do that together.
That's a big conversion.
You heard that someone is running for president who wants to give every American $1,000 a month. I know this may sound like a gimmick, but this is a deeply American idea, from Thomas Paine to Martin Luther King to today. Let me tell you why we need to do it and how we pay for it. Why do we need to do it? We already automated away millions of manufacturing jobs, and chances are your job could be next. If you don't believe me, just ask an auto worker here in Detroit. How do we pay for it? Raise your hand in the crowd if you've seen stores closing where you live.
Yes.
It is not just you. Amazon is closing 30% of America's stores and malls and paying zero in taxes while doing it. We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. $1,000 a month for every adult would be $461 million every month right here in Detroit alone. The automation of our jobs is the central challenge facing us today. It is why Donald Trump is our president, and any politician not addressing it is failing the American people.
Woo!
Of the United States.
Yeah!
Thank you, Governor Risley. Mr. Yang, I want to bring you in. You support a Medicare for all. I just want to share a story. When I told my wife I was running for president, you know the first question she asked me? What are we going to do about our health care? That's a true story, and it's not just us. Democrats are talking about health care the wrong way. As someone who's run a business, I can tell you flat out our current health care system makes it harder to hire. It makes it harder to treat people well and give them benefits and treat them as full-time employees. It makes it harder to switch jobs, as Senator Harris just said, and it's certainly a lot harder to start a business. If we say, look, we're going to get healthcare off the backs of businesses and families, then watch American entrepreneurship recover and bloom. That's the argument we should make to the American people. Democrats on this stage are fear-mongering about universal healthcare. It makes no sense. That's the problem. And the only reason this particular part of the law is this practice.
Thank you.
Congressman Gavin,
Mr. Yang, your response.
I'm the son of immigrants myself. My father immigrated here as a graduate student and generated over 65 U.S. patents for GE and IBM. I think that's a pretty good deal for the United States. That's the immigration story we need to be telling. We can't always be focusing on some of the the distress stories. And if you go to a factory here in Michigan, you will not find wall-to-wall immigrants. You will find wall-to-wall robots and machines. Immigrants are being scapegoated for issues they have nothing to do with in our economy. Thank you, Mr. Young.
Virtually eliminate immigration detention.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of this once again. I just have a couple of announcements about our band Andrew Yang, who's going to be showing up here again. Andrew Yang will be at the Iowa State Fair at the Des Moines Political Soapbox on August the 9th at 10:30 a.m. So we encourage all of you to come down, hear Andrew Yang in person, get a chance to get a selfie with him, talk to the man himself. I really encourage that because it's a great time. Not only that, where else in the United States can you go and get a barbecue turkey leg that's about the size of a baby? So show on up for that. Andrew Yang will then also be at the Iowa Wingding later that day in Clear Lake, Iowa. Another great event. That was one of the first places I actually saw Andrew Yang and myself, and that's where my wife actually convinced me to be a supporter of Andrew Yang, because when there were other candidates who got up and spoke, and I asked her, well, what do you think of the different people? And what she said to me made me a Yang supporter that day. She said, Andrew Yang is the only person who's actually offering real solutions for normal people's lives, and I think that is true then, and I think that is true today. And then, thank you. And then lastly, on the 10th, Andrew Yang will be at the Jasper Winery for the Asian and Latino Coalition fundraiser that is that evening. Yes, the Asian Latino Coalition. A great organization here in central Iowa, and if anybody is not a member, you can join, because I'm neither Asian nor Latino, but I'm part of it, and it's an organization that does tremendous work. So I encourage people to join. So those are the times that Andrew Yang is going to be back here in central Iowa again. If any of you have any questions about that whatsoever, please make sure that you contact me. And once again, thank you everybody for showing up. And once again, my friend, Peng Yang.
Everyone. Hey, quick announcement. Someone already won the debate bingo. Raise it up, yeah. But if you want to black out your bingo card, I guess I'll give you a high five.
People to stay out of jail because we spend so much when they're behind bars. Right now, we think we're saving money. We just end up spending the money in much more dark and punitive ways. We should put money directly into people's hands, certainly when they come out of prison, but before they go to prison.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Our Senator Bill Grant.
Let Yang speak! 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 Let Yang speak!
We have to get rid of the filibusters. Mr. Yang, why are you the best candidate to heal the racial divide in America? Your response.
I spent 7 years running a nonprofit that helped create thousands of jobs, including hundreds right here in Detroit, as well as Baltimore, Cleveland, New Orleans. And I saw that the racial disparities are much, much worse than I'd ever imagined. They're even worse still. A study just came out that projected the average African-American median net worth will be 0 by 2053. So you have to ask yourself, how is that possible? It's possible because we're in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in our history. Artificial intelligence is coming. It's going to displace hundreds of thousands of call center workers, truck drivers, the most common job in 29 states, including this one. And you know who suffers most in a natural disaster? It's people of color, people who have lower levels of capital and education and resources. So what are we going to do about it? We should just go back to the writings of Martin Luther King, who in 1967, his book Chaos Our Community, said we need a guaranteed minimum income in the United States of America. That is the most effective way for us to address racial inequality in a genuine way and give every American a chance in the 21st century economy.
Mr. Yang, thank you very much.
Bring people together in red, purple, and blue areas. But more than that, I can get things done.
Mr. Yang, in poll after poll, Democratic voters saying that having a nominee who can beat President Trump is more important to them than having a nominee who agrees with them on major issues. And right now, according to polls, they say the candidate who has the best chance of doing that, of beating President Trump, is Vice President Biden. Why are they wrong?
Well, I'm building a coalition of disaffected Trump voters, independents, libertarians, and conservatives, as well as Democrats and progressives. I believe I'm the candidate best suited to beat Donald Trump, And as for how to win in Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania, the problem is that so many people feel like the economy has left them behind. What we have to do is we have to say, look, there's record high GDP and stock market prices. You know what else are record highs? Suicides, drug overdoses, depression, anxiety. It's gotten so bad that American life expectancy has declined for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Good.
And I'd like to talk about my wife who's at home with our 2 boys right now, one of whom is autistic. What does her work count at in today's economy?
Nothing.
0, and we know that's the opposite of the truth. We know that her work is among the most challenging and vital. The way we win this election is we redefine economic progress to include all the things that matter to the people in Michigan and all of us, like our own health, our well-being, our mental health, our clean air and clean water, how our kids are doing. If we change the measurements to the 21st century economy to revolve around our own well-being, then we will win this election.
Donald Trump won this election because...
You know, I believe that we need to invest in what will ensure that Americans prosper in the years to come. Thank you for the heads up.
Any domestic law has either a federal law or state or local law. This is that table unless environmental surveyor and labor surveyor. And to make sure we employ our workers first to compete. And you also have to be a business fine. Yes, I just want to ask this question of all the candidates, particularly Vice President Biden. For American jobs like the old NAFTA, like it did in Michigan. And you can go down back find out about this, but I know
On average, earn 80 cents, about 80 cents for every dollar earned by men. Senator Harris wants to fine companies that don't close their gender pay gaps. As an entrepreneur, do you think a stiff fine will change how companies pay their female employees?
I've seen firsthand the inequities in the business world where women are concerned, particularly in startups and entrepreneurship. We have to do more at every step, and if you're a woman entrepreneur, the obstacles start not just at home, but then when you seek a mentor or an investor, often they don't look like you, and they might not think your idea is the right one. In order to give women a leg up, what we have to do is we have to think about women in every situation, including the ones who are in exploitative and abusive jobs and relationships around the country. I'm talking about the waitress who's getting harassed by her boss at the diner, who might have a business idea, but right now is stuck where she is. What we have to do is we have to give women the economic freedom to be able to improve their own situations and start businesses. And the best way to do this is by putting a dividend of $1,000 a month in their hands. It would be a game changer for women around the country. More of the unrecognized and uncompensated work in our society. It will not change unless we change it. And I say that's just what we do.
Senator Harris? 58 cents, Latinos 53 cents. So yes,
I should have $8,000 tax credit. Now, that will put 700,000 women back to work, increase the GDP by almost 8%.
Deal after President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the deal, and that puts Iran closer to building a nuclear weapon, the ability to do so at the very least. You said if Iran violates the agreement, the U.S. would need to respond, quote, very strongly. So how would a President Yang respond right now?
I would move to de-escalate tensions in Iran because they're responding to the fact that we pulled out of this agreement. And it wasn't just us and Iran, there were many other world powers that were part of that multilateral agreement. We'd have to try and re-enter that agreement, renegotiate the timelines because the timelines now don't make as much sense. But I've signed a pledge to end the forever wars. Right now, our strength abroad reflects our strength at home. What's happened, really? We've fallen apart at home, so we elected Donald Trump, and now we have this erratic and unpredictable relationship with even our long-standing partners and allies. What we have to do is we have to start investing those resources to solve the problems right here at home. We've spent trillions of dollars and lost thousands of American lives in conflicts that have unclear benefits. We've been in a constant state of war for 18 years. This is not what the American people want. I would bring the troops home, I would de-escalate tensions with Iran, and I would start investing our resources in our own communities.
Well, I think that these are matters of great and often difficult judgment, and there is no sort of primer for presidents to read. We have to determine whether a potential president has adequate judgment in these decisions.
You know what the talking heads couldn't stop talking about after the last debate. It's not the fact that I'm somehow number 4 on the stage at national polling. It was the fact that I wasn't wearing a tie. Instead of talking about automation in our future, including the fact that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs, hundreds of thousands right here in Michigan, we're up here with makeup on our faces and our rehearsed attack lines, playing roles in this reality TV show. It's one reason why we elected a reality TV star as our president. I'm solving the real challenges of today. Like the fact that the most common jobs in America may not exist in a decade, or that most Americans cannot pay their bills. My flagship proposal of freedom dividend would put $1,000 a month into the hands of every American adult, be a game changer for millions of American families. If you care more about your family and your kids than my neckwear, enter your zip code at yang2020.com and see what $1,000 a month would mean to your community. I have done the math. It's not left. It's not right. It's forward. And that is how we're going to beat Donald Trump in 2020.
The city of Detroit. They're hosting us today, and one of the reasons I respect the cities because they have the kind of defiant love that I find in many American cities, including the city of Newark. And Detroit is turning around, and Newark is turning around because we let no one divide us, no one demean or degrade us, or underestimate our worth. We pull together and form common purpose and common cause. That's the history of this city. I'm also born in the city of Detroit.